I don't know if you can hear that, but there's this ringing, and then I ring when I strum the guitar. And it's that. So I don't know if it'll come through on the microphone, but an open G, I can hear it totally there. Open G, open strings, I really get a lot of ring from the G string mostly, a little bit from the D string, and that can be pretty annoying. But I got a little tech tip for you. So an easy way that you can combat that, it actually doesn't look dopey like having a big string across over here, the big nylon things that they do over there. It's actually really subtle, and it does probably 90% of deadening that little ring that happens over there, is to take some foam. Now the foam that I use here, I got this is packing foam. Something was sent to me in a box that was filled with foam like this. It's not very thick, but it's thicker than the height of these strings over the back of the nut over here. And what I do is I just cut, see this little notch over here? I just cut a little bit of the foam over there, just enough to fit behind the strings on the nut. The fact that the foam is a little higher than the strings helps, because the strings will push down the foam. The foam is not going to push the strings out of the string slots on the nut. All it's going to do is just dampen it. So I already have a little pre-cut piece here. You can see it's got some indentations where I've already had it installed and tested it out. And what you do is you're just going to take this and slide it up underneath the strings using a Allen screw or Allen key. Now, I have that little piece of foam in there, but you can hardly see it. You can hardly tell it's there. And if it's dead quiet. This one's got a tiny bit of ring from the springs in the back over here. Not enough, it doesn't come through the amp. But you can see that it's very subtle. Takes up almost no room. You can't really even tell that it's there when you're more than a foot away from it. Now this works great when you have a white nut. If you have a dark nut, you can just get darker foam to go in there, and then that'll kind of disappear as well. Or if you have a rosewood board, you can also find different colors of foam. Anything dark will work and kind of disappear, especially at any sort of distance. But it doesn't look as dopey as having something, a string or something, a hair tie or whatever back here, and it really does work. But that's it. It's just that simple. You just take the foam that you already get from your Amazon packages or your eBay packages or your Reverb packages, save it, because it has all sorts of uses. So this level of thickness, it's not very thick, works great for behind the nut. If you get some thicker stuff, it can go well behind your springs over here if you get springs ringing. You can use other foam for if you have surface mounted or body mounted pickups instead of pick guards. You can use the foam for that. Saving that sort of foam is a great way to save up on repair costs, because now I don't have to buy anything. I don't have to shop. I don't have to even go look online for it. I already had stuff in progress. Now I might see if I can cut in some closer up shots of this. Maybe we do it back at the kitchen table again. My do-it-yourself rig. And so that you can see what's really going on. All right, so if we're going to put a little something behind the nut there, you can see how this little L-shaped cut is even more than we really need, but we'll trim it later. So all I'm going to do is cut a very narrow slice out of this. I mean, that's plenty good enough. And then we're just going to feed it in underneath here with the help of this little Allen wrench from a Floyd Rose. I put that underneath there. Now what you use as a tool to help you is meaningless. I just used something that I had that I could grab hold of. All I'm going to do is push it up against the nut so that it's taking up all the room that it needs to take up. And then we can trim these little bits. The way I'll do that is with handy dandy Swiss Army knife. Small little knife or scissors that gets right in where it needs to be. Just trim these little edges pieces. It's really just that simple. I've been doing that for 5 or 6 years now. So 5 or 6 years. I have a dozen Strats or so. And this is all that I have used, that little L-shaped notch, out of this entire sheet. So you do have to replace them every now and again, but because I've used so little of it, this sheet will probably last me the rest of my life. Just this little sheet. And I will have no more problems with ringing behind the nut. And so it's cheap, easy, it's a nice little do-it-yourself trick, and you can do it yourself. Just save that packing foam that you get from Amazon. Anyway, thanks guys.